Hi guys, Jorge here. I'm excited because I wanted to accomplish something today that has to do with lightboards. And the concept of lightboards, which is drawing on a piece of glass in front of the camera so you can do virtual whiteboards, is very important. But what I wanted to do and try is to see if I could do it just with software. And I think I've accomplished this. Let me show you what I have done on this. Let me switch cameras. And let me tell you a little bit about what I've done. So basically, what you are able, I have a pen here. What we're going to discuss today is what this is. We're going to do it how I did it. It's done. And we're going to be talking about possible in future. So if you want to, you can do all kinds of things like this with your, again, equipment. And if you want to, you can go ahead and do graphics, of course, 1, 2, 3, and then this is A, this is B, and this is C, right? And if you do not want to, if you want to do a little bit smaller or different color, perhaps, let's switch to white and see how that works. What we're going to do is we're going to do this and that, as well as this and that on the screen as we are moving forward on that. Now, all of these items are being captured on the screen as you are seeing, and you can zoom into one of them if you would like to as part of that process. If you don't like to see yourself big like that, what you can do is just switch the screen to a smaller U, and then you have it in the corner, and you can mask it if you want to, but you can see that we have a lot more space on the whiteboard to make that happen. And what we can do is we can draw right up to the edge of the screen here as we're putting that in there. And again, all this is part of the pieces that I have. Now, I'm going to show you how I've done it in a moment here. As you can see, the first thing I have is I have my computer, which is a laptop, right? Just a laptop computer that has an integrated camera. And that is the integrated camera that you're seeing there. The other piece is I have attached a webcam just to have it a little bit more different views of it. So that is attached to a webcam, just a simple webcam, nothing fancy or anything like that. Then what I have is an iPad, and on the iPad, and that's it. The hardware-wise, that is all I have from that. So that is the hardware. From a software perspective, I am using what is called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. It's a tool to be able to create scenes and to create all kinds of elements, compose all kinds of elements that you can then broadcast. Streamers use it. It's very common out there. There's tons of YouTubes that explain it. I've tried many whiteboard programs on the iPad. I end up using what is called ProCreate, which is a graphics program that is excellent. I've used it quite a bit, and I end up putting, but the biggest thing about whiteboard software is it doesn't let you create or put a background of for green screen, so you can do what we're seeing here today. So it is whatever. I have looked at several of them. Maybe there's 2 or 3 of them out there, but what I end up doing is I use Procreate, and what that gives me the ability to do is to be able to do these kinds of things and show what I've been drawing, what I've been working on, move it up and down, and those kinds of elements. That like it, which is nicer than just a standard lightboard, which is a fixed view. And then what I have is my iPad is connected to my computer using NDI software. NDI software is the ability to broadcast signal from my laptop all the way to the computer. So what happens is I am able to broadcast my screen. And as you can see, it's just the iPad screen that I am broadcasting. That is the NDI software right here. And as you can see, it is NDI HX as part of that process. And I can broadcast anything in there as HX. Now, that is an excellent tool, and it works on all my iOS devices. ProCreate and NDI HX, I have paid for those two tools. It wasn't too expensive at all. It was like $9.95 for each or something like that. Now, what you can see here is that I have, and let me just switch to my other screen here. This is just a standard iPad that I have. You can see the green screen right there. This is where I've been doing that components. It's nothing fancy, just a small iPad that I use. And the webcam is right there. That's it. Those are all the pieces. You want to know how I've done it? Let's just get into it and see some of the elements associated with it. So hopefully this will turn out okay. I'm going to transition to my OBS screen. Okay, let's see if this works. What you're seeing right now is the OBS Studio 26.1 64-bit window screen or application. So this is where you're going to see all the scenes that you're going to be creating for the different places. These are the sources that you're going to have for those scenes. And you can have some audio mixing components, which we're going to talk about in a different video. So this scene doesn't have anything, it's a blank scene. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a scene that captures me as it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and create a scene, and I'm going to say speaker. Okay, so that speaker will have, I'm going to capture video capture device that is going to be my webcam. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to, it's going to ask me to select it. Integrated web camera is that one over there, but that is not the one that I want. I want the live stream camera, which is this one. Okay, so far so good. That's what we have, and I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller, I can adjust it, I can change the quality of it, and those kinds of things. So let's just assume that. Now we're going to create a second scene for the iPad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a second scene for the iPad and iPad full screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and you can see that it's a blank screen. Now, if I switch to my speaker, it'll be a speaker screen. So when I go on my app screen, I'm going to select the source, and I'm going to go to NDI source. Remember I said that I had software on my iPad that enabled me to do this NDI configuration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my NDI software here, so it can broadcast the screen. I'm just starting my NDI software. That is all. Now it's broadcasting. And you're going to see it in a moment. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to go here to my iPad full screen, and I'm going to select the source, NDI, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it iPad NDI. Okay, so I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to choose the iPad display. And as you're going to see here in a moment, you're going to see these populate with the iPad display, and I can make it right now. And okay, so now I have my iPad scene out there. Now I'm going to create another scene just so to show you that I am able to do these with the screen and the visual here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the NDI, and I'm going to use the NDI pad. And as you can see now, I have both myself and the screen on one scene. And now I shouldn't have called it just a speaker screen. As I should have called it a speaker plus iPad, as you can see. And I can move my iPad, and I'm going to go ahead and do these back and forth as we're going through this process. So I mentioned that I tried many whiteboards, and you can see that I have here the Microsoft whiteboard. And as you can see, you could go ahead and use a whiteboard of any kind. And if you had a Android device, you would use the exact same thing. I'm going to try another whiteboard, just one that I picked up. This is again a free whiteboard. And now you will see that it reverted to landscape. Now in here, I can able to do this, and I am able to do that, and those kinds of things. Now remember that I said that it was very important to be able to have a background on the video, this white background. It is not a green screen, so I need to be able to layer a green screen on the white. This particular program did not allow me to do that. It was great because it has lots of colors and lots of elements, but I tested multiple ones. This was great, but unfortunately it didn't allow me to do that. Microsoft whiteboard, that the backgrounds here, and I'm going to go into format background. Look at the limited set of colors that it has. Now, granted, you can mask this color in order to be able to come up completely transparent in the background for the ultimate result that we want. So what I end up using is a product called ProCreate. Okay, and ProCreate allows me to change the background, and I'm going to start a brand new one here. I'm sorry, and when I click on a plus, I'm going to go and it lets me select the size, the screen size. I'm just going to do that for the moment. And it starts with these, right? So you are able to change the color, to change the pens. I can draw, I can change the color to the one that I want. I can use different pens and all kinds of things like that. Triangles, shapes, all kinds of elements. This is just one example. The other thing that this ProCreate has is the ability to add layers. So if I am doing multiple layers, do you notice how easy it was to create a new layer? Now I can go back to the old layer and just enable it, and you can see both layers there. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But more importantly, and that really is important, is to be able to have the background color change. And as you can see, I can make it any color I want. And with that capability, I can then set the filter so it becomes black in here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to change the NDI iPad under filters, and I'm going to apply a filter here, chroma key, and I'm going to just chroma key, and I am going to, you notice how it was already disappeared? Now I'm going to adjust a little bit so the colors are better. So let's just say there, and you can spend hours adjusting these any way you want. And you can change the opacity, you can change all that. But what this does is, look at this now. I am able now to draw and be able to change the colors and here, and I'm able to do this, and I'm able to not only draw but also notice that I'm using my finger as well. I don't need to use the pen, but if I had a pen, I could very much use the pen as needed as well. Now, if I wanted to, you notice how these pieces right here are coming in the white background that I have. I need to mask myself as well. I'll explain that in a moment how did I do that. Okay, so let me go to the next step. I'm going to remove this here, the iPad NDI display for a moment. And remember, this is the one that was filtered with the chroma key. But in order to keep it clean, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and have my speaker view, whatever I want, and I'll explain this a little bit more in detail in a second. Then my iPad full screen that I wanted in the entire screen. Now you will see that my iPad screen right here, NP iPad, still has the filter for the chroma key. I did not remove it by just removing the other screen. But you notice how it has a little bit of an edge in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that edge, and I'm going to remove this edge to make it a little bit cleaner, and to make it a little also fit the as much as the screen as I can possibly. Again, this is the display that I have from my iPad onto the to the device as I'm talking to you about. Oh, there's still a little bit of gray components, and that is a clean screen as we're moving it forward. Now, let's say, for example, I want to be able to now add my a scene that has speaker small with whiteboard. So what I would need to do is I will simply go ahead and select the source, and I'm going to click on a scene instead of at the source, and I'm going to have the iPad full screen, as I mentioned there. That is my scene for the iPad screen. And I'm going to also add the scene for my speaker view. Speaker, the full screen for the speaker. And I can modify these as I need to. So again, I said I'm going to make it smaller for that purpose. Now this one will be much bigger, so I can make it a little bit bigger. And so I have now the full screen with a small view. Say, now, let's say I want this speaker view now in a different form, or the speaker being seen in a different form, and I want the speaker to be big and be able to write on the board in front of the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another scene, and I'm going to call it a speaker big with whiteboard. Okay, so again, I'm just adding a scene, and I'm going to add the layers of the scene. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the scene of the speaker. And that is the speaker scene that I am going to, I'm talking to you and I'm doing these. And I can make it as big or as small as I would like it to be. And then what I want is I want to be able to add this scene from the iPad full screen. You can see that it is very distracting because of my background. In Zoom or in Teams, you are able to create a background that you can then mask. In OBS, you cannot easily do that. So they put a green screen unless you have physically a green screen behind you. So what I am going to do now is I am going to use a program which is free called XSplit VCam. One device cannot be used with two capture devices. So what I need to do now is I need to remove this out of the equation, this webcam capturing device. And what I am going to do is I'm going to add another one called video capture device. And I am going to call this one XSplit virtual camera. And again, there are several software that will enable you to do virtual cam. And what I am going to actually next is click on the VCam split, and I am going to click on OK. Now, in here, just bringing this over, this is the software virtual split. What it is doing is capturing and removing everything from behind me as if it was a green screen. This software actually does put a watermark, and to disable the watermark, you just have to pay for it. Not necessary at this stage of the game, because we're just testing this. So what I am going to do, crop my view so I am able to remove the virtual camera. And what I do is I hold the alternate key, and I'm going to make it smaller, as you can see, and voila, that is removed. Let me just remove my so you don't get it. It is not perfect. The paid subscription gives you better quality on the background removal, but it works for our purposes at the moment. I am going to make this bigger because it's the full screen, right? That's what I have, the speaker full screen. And as you can see now, when I go into my iPad full screen, I have a black background in the background. I can see myself now and can see that I have black, and you will see as part of that process that I am completely transparent. My background is completely transparent. So whenever I'm seeing myself, and what I'm transmitting on my virtual camera is what the other people see. Now look at this now, as you are moving. Now I have to adjust my camera a little bit. Let me just adjust the camera so I can be seen. And I can draw as part of that as more lines, or I can clear these, clear, and I can start with a clean sheet of paper, and I can go ahead and do hello. We are going to be talking about this, and this, and then what you're doing is you can move it to the right, you can move it to the left, and you can do all kinds of graphics and those kinds of elements on that. If I ever want to go into the different view, I go like this, so I'm smaller, as you can see, and then I can view myself, and I can see all the stuff that I've written, and I can go ahead and do all kinds of elements like that. So that is how I configure this. There's many options available to you. So in summary, remember just a few things. With OBS, you need to have scenes. Each scene is composed of sources. Now, what is important is you are able to stage the sources so they can be masks or green screen. So the transparency is important for the lightboard effect. You don't have to do the lightboard effect with green. You can totally do a whiteboard and be able to draw on a whiteboard. And you can always do a white screen, a regular screen, and you can just define anything that you want as part of that. It's just that the whiteboard is not transparent, as you can see from that perspective, and you cannot, to my knowledge, you cannot really mask effectively the white background. But you could put yourself right in the bottom here as part of that process if you prefer. If you prefer to do it this way, you could totally draw in the whiteboard and develop a whiteboard perfectly fine with a white piece of paper, a blank piece of paper on a whiteboard software in the piece. So that's it. I think this provided you a good example, I think overview of what I've done to be able to do this. Hopefully that was helpful. Please subscribe, like, and leave comments behind. And if you want me to do any other kind of videos for this, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to support you on any way I can. Cheers. Bye-bye.